that's convenient for the other guy. All the stuff you take for granted when you come to No Bull.
There's not a lot of glamour in being a used RV salesman, Rick.
I don't do it for the glamour, Bob. I love helping people enjoy the great outdoors on their terms. It's my life's work, but it doesn't have to be yours. When you sell your quality used RV with us, we take care of everything. Cleaning, repairs, commercials like this one to bring people in, and besides, I like being a used RV salesman a lot more than you do.
And that's No Bull.
NoBullRV.ca.
Get the inside scoop for your team on Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
$11 o'clock. Good morning. Thank you for joining us here on Fantasy Frenzy, brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky. Go check them out. Only available in Leduc. Grab a bag or two, probably a few more than that. A couple for the road. That would be my advice. And a few other things you can grab while you're out there. A lot to get to on this show today. I'm Connor Halley. He's Brandon Douglas. Josh Fenwick here as well. Kind of nice, though, Duke. I got to say, I didn't get distracted by your mic arm creaking to kick the show off today. So, hey, Things are looking up for today's program.
Little victories, Cons. It's all about the little victories.
That's all we look for here on the show. But lots of victories, big victories for the Edmonton Oilers last night. We'll get to that. We're also going to have our mock draft 1.0 for the NFL. Of course, something we do here on Fantasy Frenzy is the draft rolls. Well, it gets a little bit closer. We're what? 3 weeks out? 2 weeks out? I'm fired up for it. I'm still a draft junkie. I will say I was kind of a nerd. I was telling the boys before the show, when I was Josh's age, just 21 years old, I would be watching the Combine and Pro Days and reading the articles. I've kind of fallen out a little bit, but we're still going to do the mock draft here and see what teams get. We'll do some wrinkles with it, as we've done in the past. We'll get Declan Kruger involved potentially next week, and then maybe on the day of the NFL draft, we'll monitor the text line. And the first person of a fan of a team to get that pick in, we'll let you guys make that selection. But we'll do that at about 11:20 today on the show. Talk Oilers. We can talk the Masters, Duke. Is this the kickoff of golf season for you? I mean, I will say this. I was driving in today. I was listening to you guys talk about the Masters. I looked on the Henday to my right. Not a millimeter of snow. All dry.
Gone.
I looked to my left. Piles of snow. It was something. That area doesn't get much shade or sun, apparently. But we're getting close to it, and you can't beat coming into the studio and having the Masters on.
No, it's great. And listen, there's the PGA season has been well underway. We've already had a couple, not premiere. Well, I think premiere is maybe the right word. The events, and that kind of starts to get the itch going, I think. But listen, college basketball is in the rearview mirror. It's Stanley Cup playoff time within a week or just over a week. The NBA is down to the final couple games, and the Masters is on our TV. This is the time of year where we as Edmontonians think that we should be getting ready to hit the links, and in years past have been by here April 9th on the calendar, but not the case this year, unfortunately.
We'll get there. It'll come. It always does. 1-833-401-1440 is the text line. Now let's talk a little bit about the Edmonton Oilers, because last night, nice win. And I mean, hey, there's lots of storylines to look at. They got the job done. That's the biggest thing. The injury situation, there's a couple that stand out. Obviously, Connor Ingram. We'll have to wait and see. Jason Dickinson. I'm not a doctor, wouldn't even pretend to be one. But the way he immediately reacted after taking that shot, back of the leg, where we have to assume there's no padding, not putting much weight on it as he head down the tunnel, not a good sign. For the Oilers, a good sign is that you do have a lot of depth in the bottom six, but not many players who can defend like a Jason Dickinson can. Connor McDavid, that was, I don't know, Duke, if there was a statement there. I feel like you might see that more in other sports when you have a young superstar going up against kind of the reigning MVP, the superstar player. Connor McDavid was an absolute animal. Now, a couple lucky bounces on his goals, but pucks on net leads to good things. Another highlight reel goal, 5 points, is 8 shots. The rest of the Oilers, by my quick math, 14. That's what I'd love to see out of Connor McDavid, especially with Leon Draisaitl and Zach Hyman out of the lineup. Connor McDavid taking games over, 21 minutes of ice time, 3 on the power play, about 37 seconds on the PK. That was about as dominant of a performance as we've seen from Connor McDavid. And you get those highlight reel goals, and sometimes it's just like, oh, he did it again. Mm-hmm. It doesn't get the excitement, but the game started off, probably the way you would have wanted. Malcolm Celebrini gets things going. Connor McDavid answers. But from then on out, it was all Connor McDavid. The Oilers power play goes 3 of 3. Are they back? Down 2 of their best power play guys. Duke, what were your thoughts on the game last night?
Yeah, I thought it was a really impressive bounce back effort from Edmonton, because we were, all pretty low on what we saw in Utah against the Mammoth, where for the second half of the game, they kind of got ran out of the building in Salt Lake City, and we're clearly not the better team. A lot of recurring themes re-emerging in their game, especially from a defensive standpoint. Power play continued to struggle. I mean, they got the goal, but it was off of a pure solo effort by McDavid against the Mammoth. And all of a sudden we're saying, all right, this is kind of just what this team is, and don't expect them to really change. They have moments where they look better, and I'll hear the pessimistic view that maybe that's all last night was, is once again just a standalone performance. Can they duplicate that for more than a game, 2, even 3 in a row? Well, that's to be determined, right? We know that this group does tend to bring their best game once the calendar rolls over to mid-April, May, and even June. The playoffs have proven that the past couple seasons. This does feel like a little bit of a different group. There's a little bit more uncertainty and I think hesitancy when trying to evaluate them because of some of the fresher faces. I take it at face value. It was a rock solid performance, especially defensively in the third period when you had to have Tristan Jarry come in relief of the apparently injured Connor Ingram. He still remained available. I'm not sure if there's any circumstance we would have actually saw him come back into the game, I suppose, but back to shot block, and Jarry only faced 4 shots in the third period. I couldn't tell you a single one of them what they were in my recollection of the game. So the Oilers did a good job locking it down, preserved a decisive victory, and it was solid across the board. But when you talk about Connor McDavid and his standout performance, yeah, it's 5 points. This is something that we've even something like that we've almost grown accustomed to. He's done it a couple times this year. I think it was his 14th in his career already to have that many 5-point outings. Just remarkable. And he got a couple lucky bounces, but hey, that's the sport, right? You take them as they come.
Yeah. And I mean, just on the one goal where he's trying to get it across to Roslovic makes a good play.
Yeah, to hold
get
it
the
at the
turnover
wall
right there. So I think that, you do those little things and good things are going to happen, Duke. People, you can, downplay those all the time, but I think the little things lead to big things in the game of hockey. Also, Evan Bouchard becoming the first defenseman for the Oilers since Paul Coffey, who did it a couple times, to reach the 90-point marker. He's at 91, tied with Jason Robertson. That puts him ahead of guys like Kirill Kaprizov, Kyle Connor, Jake Gensel, Cole Caulfield, Wyatt Johnson. It was 43 goals this year. Some really good hockey players. Evan Bouchard right in that category, Duke. And a good bounce back game, I thought. Well, obviously for the whole team, but also for number 2. And looking at his averaging 24 minutes of ice time. Good things for the Edmonton Oilers, and we'll have to monitor the situation, I suppose, for the injury. Oilers off until Saturday when they take on the LA Kings. The Kings play Vancouver tonight, so we'll see what happens. Oilers fans cheering for a Canucks victory. Canucks fans probably cheering for a loss as they continue to try to maximize their chances at Gavin McKenna first overall, we'll have to see what happens. The good news for the Oilers, Bakersfield, kind of right in between San Jose and Los Angeles. So if they did have to call someone up, Calvin Pickard, a.k.a., I think it'd be quite the easy move. And maybe that's something you do. Duke, I will say, I heard you and Kerry was talking about it, and Kevin said that he had kind of thought that Calvin Pickard was someone he had a little more faith in than Tristan Jarry. I was nervous when Jarry went in last night. Glad he only faced 4 shots. That was kind of status quo for that game. But a year ago, we sat here, and I said I was more comfortable, more confident in Calvin Pickard than Stuart Skinner.
Yep.
Today, I'll tell you, I'm more confident in Calvin Pickard than Tristan Jarry. Not Connor Ingram. When he's out there, he's got that kind of calming presence. But I think Calvin Pickard has a little bit of that as well. Makes the saves you need him to make. If it's me, I'm making that call, and I think I'm giving him the start on Saturday. Call me crazy.
Hey, words right out of my mouth. You must have been listening to In or Out this morning, where I broached this exact topic and said, if there's any form of doubt with Connor Ingram here for the remainder of the regular season, just let him work it out. Really, if it's a muscle tweak, if it's a twinge or something, get some stretching, get some work in at practice to continue to work it out. Don't risk anything because we know, based on the play of Tristan Jarry most recently against the Utah Mammoth, like, you can't be staking a lot of belief in his game. And to open the playoffs, I don't think that's the level of confidence you want to be having in your goaltender, your starting goaltender in particular. So I'm right there with you, Cons. If Ingram can't go, or like I said, if there's even a shadow of a doubt that he's not at 100%, get Cal Pickard in the net, because if the playoffs were to open today, he'd be my guy sitting on the bench behind Connor Ingram in the starters crease. And that may seem short-sighted because we haven't watched Cal Pickard for seemingly a lifetime already now since he's been down in Bakersfield, but we know what he means to the locker room, what he means to the team. I'm with you. I think I would have more confidence in him if he were to have to come in a relief appearance, whether that be because of a shellacking or, say, another injury were to fall Connor Ingram.
We know the vibes that he brings if he were to join this Oilers team. Just looking at the leaderboard at Augusta right now, Sam Burns, Mr. Burns, and Patrick Reed, 4 under par. Some names of note: Canadian Nick Taylor, -2.
Pretty good.
-2, -2.
Oh boy, we're circling back to this.
Anyone going to call me out on this one? Corey Connors, even, I believe. I think unless he dropped down in the leaderboard, maybe I may have missed him. No, still even. But he's on hole 1.
Just getting underway, yeah.
If he can just keep this up, he's doing pretty good. Bryson DeChambeau also even. Dustin Johnson even. Those guys on the back 9. Sergio Garcia, although it's early.
Sergio.
Does he still have the kind of delayed swing, the practice swings?
That I'm actually not sure. I can't say I've watched a lot of Sergio in recent memory.
Was that a thing, or was that just like my friends group? Because we had a buddy who would always kind of do that little
the mimic
weird wrist thing.
Oh no! Anytime
Sergio.
We're out with the boys, you would always, whether it be intentional or not, draw some comparisons to some of the guys out on tour. Right? Everybody has to try and do the Charles Barkley little hitch swing before he got it figured out. Of course, the Happy Gilmore. And so, yeah, is it the Sergio pause? Why not?
Yeah. Hey, people do it. MTR says, guys, seems like the year they will win the cup. They're a bit under the radar. They might be. I just, for me, I think the first 2 rounds, definitely they could get past. It's that matchup with the Central Division. Could be tough. Jane Victoria says, yes, the Oilers locked it down, but it was against the Sharks. Would like to see that against Vegas or a top team, but won't take away from the defensive effort. Bouchard rough game on Tuesday was much better last night. Bud Colson going to get 20. Love that guy. Yeah, and that's kind of it's probably for the people that have listened to me for a long time, a little repetitive, but I always like to see how you bounce back. A bad game is a bad game. Yeah, we can rip them and analyze it as much as you want, but I always look to the future. Okay, put it in the rear view. How do you handle the next game? And you fell down 1-0 to the Sharks early on the power play. Not a great start. But you don't let it deter you. You respond. You get a goal in the power play. Connor McDavid, just goes all world, and you get the job done. Kyle says, I don't think a team with Connor and Leon are under the radar. I would think, you know what? Maybe when's the last time the Oilers came into the playoffs and people were like, watch out, cup run coming? Because they've never been the number 1 seed. Well, since 1987. They haven't been, the top team in the Pacific. even last year, they didn't even have home ice advantage. They were the 3 seed taking on the Kings who had home ice, right?
Mhm.
So, like, as much as you can be under the radar, yes, they're always threats. And this year, everyone's mocking the Pacific as it's, the pillow fight that it is. So I don't know if they're coming in like years past, like, oh, watch out for the Tampa Bay Lightning or the Colorado Avalanche this year. But that's about as much under the radar I think you can be, like you say, Kyle, with those teams. Last year, though, they were the defending Western Conference champion. MTR is right about that. But still, 3 seed. I felt the way about them and the Florida Panthers that for both those teams going into the playoffs last year, seeding wasn't as important. It was getting healthy, right? Like, they both kind of ramped it up. They both weren't juggernauts by any means. And then, of course, when the playoffs got going, they turned it on. For the Panthers, surviving a little bit of a scare against the Maple Leafs, and the Oilers, a bit of a scare against the LA Kings. How fortunate were they that Quinton Byfield didn't clear the puck? And then that what's his name? Head coach of the Kings, former
Jim Hiller,
Carey's his buddy, took the challenge that I think all of us were just questioning at that time. What are you doing? You're giving them a chance to get back into this one. Boys, I have as much faith in Jari as I do with my 4-year-old walking around the house with a lidless marker. Ontario Momes.
I have to think that's not a lot.
That's not a lot. That'd be a new paint job.
Unless your
on the wall.
4-year-old is very well behaved and disciplined, I suppose, or you say, hey, you can walk around with that all you want, but steer clear of the furniture, the walls, the carpet, etc.
Little Picasso over there. We'll take a break here because we're going to get to our NFL mock draft 1.0 here on Fantasy Frenzy. That's coming up next. The show brought to you by Will Hawk Beef Jerky.
Craving your favorite mouth-watering pizzas? Papa John's has large specialty pizzas for only $19.99 for a limited time. Get a flavorful all the meats, the works, ultimate pepperoni, Hawaiian, barbecue chicken, and more on original thin or New York style crust. Use the code LSPEC at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app. Get yours today. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
And here comes Action Electrical Service Team sprinting onto the scene. These are your first responders for any electrical emergency.
That's right. With their fleet of service vans and specialized gear, they assess, they service, and maintain electrical lighting and automation systems. They're all about rapid response.
Quick diagnostics and repairs to restore power and safety fast. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense. 5-time Junior Hockey League champions, the Spruce Grove Saints, are excited to be back on the ice at the brand new Thompson Family Arena. Be part of the action and enjoy some of the best junior hockey Canada has to offer by experiencing a Saints game for your next outing. Tickets range from $10 to $17 with free parking and some of the best food and drink specials in town. For more information on tickets and how you can become a partner, go to sgsaints.ca.
With the lead up to the playoffs underway, players are definitely stepping up their game.
And the fans are doing the same. Simple snacks like chips and dip may work at the front half of the season, but now more and more fans are rocking the Will Hawk Beef Jerky for game time get-togethers.
Just make sure you bring enough for everyone if you want to be invited back for the playoffs.
Make your next hockey game day a Will Hockey game day with Will Hawk Beef Jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't win games with salad.
Hi, I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. We've been tightening bolts and redefining our industry for 25 years. Yes, a quarter century, and we're just getting started. Check us out at cantork.com. Our tools age better than I do.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
Start thinking spring road trips and off-road trips in your new Subaru Crosstrek. Stylish, rugged, and so many features. Standard on every Crosstrek. Subaru symmetrical all-wheel drive, EyeSight driver assist technology, heated seats, and LED steering responsive headlights. Plus, with interest rates from 0.99%, you'll love the affordable weekly payment. No waiting, immediate delivery available. Subaru Crosstrek. Visit Subaru.ca. Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru.
You haven't set your lineup yet, right? It's Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
$11:21. Welcome back. It is Fantasy Frenzy here on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky. Online at Wilhauk Beef Jerky. Lots of Oilers coverage coming your way throughout the day. Of course, we got Low Tide coming up next. Jason Greger from 2 till 6. But right now, with the draft just 3 weeks away, we're going to get into our mock draft 1.0 NFL edition. Brandon and I will make the picks. This segment for elksnation.ca, 2 weekly podcast with Eddie Steele and Declan Kruger, breaking down the green and gold, the most in-depth double E football coverage you'll find. So what we'll do here is we will alternate picks. I'll go first overall. No, wait, Duke, you're going to go first overall? Duke will go first overall for the Raiders, and then I'll take the Jets pick and so forth. Feel free to text us, 1-833-401-1440. Waiting to see what people think about our selections. I know Triple C in a truck will be maybe critical of our Eagles pick, and MTR might be critical of our Niners pick. We're used to it. Playbook Vic, he got a new job. He can't tune in as much, so he won't really know what's going on with the Vikings. But if you want, if you're a fan of a team, text us right now, 1-833-401-1440, position of need and your team, and we'll try to address it in our mock draft. But with that being said, the first overall pick, of course, it's the Raiders. Worst team in the NFL. They'll try to turn it around. Duke, what happens here?
Well, last year the Raiders went with a running back at the top of their draft board, taking Ashton Genty. And it's better than one top 10 running back, two top 10 running backs. No, I'm just kidding. This is going to be the easiest pick I think we make all day, of course. Barring some incredibly unforeseen circumstance, the Raiders will find themselves a new quarterback, what they hope is franchise, and that will be the Indiana Hoosiers national champion, Fernando Mendoza.
Probably a pretty safe pick, I would think. The two running back system might work with Kirk Cousins, though. You just have those guys lined up in the backfield.
Yeah, look at how good the Falcons were.
It's great. Yeah, and they both have pretty good tight ends. It could have worked. So that brings up the New York Jets number 2 pick. The Jets, a lot of needs. If there was a stud quarterback, I'd consider it. If there was a wide receiver that I thought could be a real game breaker, I'd pair him up with Garrett Wilson. But I think you got to go on the defensive side of the ball. We've seen it time and time again. If the most important position is quarterback and the second most is protecting the quarterback, the third most, in my opinion, is the guy who can get to the quarterback. So I go Arvell Reese, edge rusher out of the Ohio State University. Which brings up the Cardinals with the number 3 pick, Duke. They could be fun for running back.
Yeah. Well, you and I have talked about this, Connor, and we've seen teams have success drafting running backs near the top of the draft, and Jeremiah Love profiles out as one of those real difference makers, but the Cardinals are not close, right? They moved on from Kyler Murray. They're kind of starting from scorched earth here in a lot of ways. what good does a running back do you at this point? And I kind of said the same thing about the Raiders last year when they chose Ashton Genty, although maybe they thought they were going to be a little more competitive with Pete Carroll at the helm than they ended up being. But with that all being said, Arizona, I think there's a lot of areas that you can look at that they maybe need some help. I think you start at the offensive line, and there's some really good defensive players still on the board here. But I'm going to jump down, and I'm going to take the top ranked O-line in a lot of people's eyes, and that's the Miami, Florida guy, Francis Mauigoa.
Mauigoa?
Yeah.
That's just my guess. All right. So a little beef up front there for the Arizona Cardinals. And there's some quarterbacks later on in the draft maybe they might consider looking. So that takes us to the Tennessee Titans. I've seen a lot of people kind of talk about Jeremiah Love here. I didn't think their run game was the worst. Defensively, potentially, could you use some help? I think so. So instead of going running back this high, I think I'm going to look to the defensive side of the ball. There's a couple players like Ruben Bain Jr. We saw what he did. People maybe not so convinced because of his arm length. You got the edge rusher, but I'm going to go linebacker, Sonny Styles. The guy who just seems like an absolute freak at the position, athletically in a good way. I'm going to take him off the board and send him to Tennessee.
Good choice. I think that's a similar direction I would have been looking there as well. Now, the Giants, I wonder, did their draft plans change at all with the Dexter Lawrence trade request, where all of a sudden, we talked so much last year about their defensive line. It should have been a position of strength, but they really did not get after the quarterback very much at all. Do they look to bolster that and replacing Lawrence, or do they try and say, they'll figure it out up front there? Last year, spending the top pick of Abdul Carter out of Penn State. So I'm going to stick on the defensive side of the ball. I think a wide receiver here could make some sense. But Malik Neighbors coming back. I think you ride with him as your top guy. I'm going to go with defensive. And a name that maybe some people are saying could be the best player in the draft, but they just don't like drafting this position this high. I'm going Caleb Downs out of OSU.
Safety. You know what? I don't hate it. You can move him around. You get him close to the line of the scrimmage as well. I'm with you. I don't think it's a bad idea necessarily. It's probably not the most popular one. Some text rolling in here. MTR says Styles has been compared to Warner with Salah in Tennessee. I'd say it's a likely pick. Cat Dad wants the Vikings to go offensive line. Someone short enough that Kyler Murray can see over. Trailer Park Ryan. Well, he's a Saints fan. He likes edge rusher, also receiver. Well, let's roll on through the draft here. Keep the text rolling in. 1-833-401-1440. It's funny, we're at the Browns now, my selection, and you look at team needs. Tackle, center, guard, quarterback, wide receiver. I'm going to go wide receiver. I'm going to go, give your quarterbacks someone to throw the ball to. With all due respect to Judy. Carnell Tate does not leave the state of Ohio. He's staying there. He's going to go to Cleveland and join the Browns with the 6th overall pick.
3 Buckeyes in the top 6. Half the draft coming from what was, for most of the year, the best team in college football.
They must have won the Natty.
You think, right? You would think. Now, Washington. Interesting spot. Real step back season after going to the NFC Championship game. I've seen some more Jeremiah Love rumors in this direction, but I'm going to stick offensive. I think they need a ton of help defensively as well, but you got to give some more options to your premier quarterback, your franchise guy. So I'm going to go to Mekhi Lemon out of USC.
All right. I was in my mind thinking that would have been a great spot for Jeremiah Love, pair him up with Daniels, but give him another weapon. I don't hate it. Okay, so Trailer Park Ryan, he had said, he just said, damn you. He thinks edge rush possibly.
For the Saints.
And for this spot, David Bailey's there, but I'm going Ruben Bain Jr., edge rusher. We had, who was it? Bill Bender joined us on the Jason Greger show, and he brought up Melvin Ingram as kind of a comparison. Short, stockier guy, move him around the field, get pressure. I think if that's your base, and I think Ruben Bain has more upside, we're taking him at number 8. Trailer Park Ryan, I hope you're okay with that instead of David Bailey. But we're getting the edge rusher to New Orleans to get after the NFC South. So that takes us to number 9, Kansas City. Jeremiah Love is still there. There's a few other nice weapons. Duke. They could have got Jeremiah Love in our situation and not given Kenneth Walker 15 mil.
Yeah, which is a name that I think a lot of people had circled before that move in free agency, but instead they're going to pivot elsewhere. And I'm going to go with the other top edge guy remaining on the board, and David Bailey out of Texas Tech, joining his fellow Red Raider and Patrick Mahomes in the Show Me State. Although I guess, when's the new stadium going to open? When it does actually move to the Kansas side of the border. They're not going to be the Show Me State anymore.
Then what is it?
I don't know what Kansas's motto is. I looked that up. Flat.
The flat state. So now we get to the Cincinnati Bengals. Josh Fenwick here. We better turn his mic on. He's a big Bengals fan. My list says the team needs defensive tackle, safety, linebacker, edge, cornerback. Essentially everywhere on defense. Actually, everywhere on defense. What position do you like here?
This is a great question.
Thank
I
you.
would say D-line. I think that's where it is.
Oh, the D-line is quite a drop-off here. You want a Canadian Akeem Messidor?
Sure, man. Why
Kendrick
not?
Falk? I think Triple C in a truck wants him. Someone in our text line
All
wants
right,
him.
screw the Eagles. Give me Kendrick Falk.
Kendrick Falk. We're going there. Edge out of Auburn. A little bit of a reach potentially, but improving that defense
That's
is
the
crucial.
Cincinnati Bengals style. Reaching.
Yeah.
Shout out to Shamar Stewart.
People are shocked, but they've got their edge duo for the next 10 to 15 years. Okay, so now we get to Donovan Paulson's Miami Dolphins, Duke. Where are they going here?
Oh, boy.
Their draft needs must be everything as well.
Everything. So do you all of a sudden turn your attention to best player available? Well, that screams to be Jeremiah Love, but they absolutely do not need a running back. They already have one that maybe doesn't want to be there, as he's, I don't think, still not at OTAs. Man.
Optional.
Optional. My instinct here is to go back to starting in the trenches, and there's quite a bit of the upfront defensive guys are off the board, so maybe I return to the offensive line. Some good options here out of Georgia and Utah. I will go with the SEC man, Monroe Freeling.
Building up that offensive line. Smart. All right, so I get the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, my goodness. There's some nice pieces here, but this is what happens in my situation. Jerry Jones, saliva overflowing out of his mouth. He can't be stopped. He's running to the draft thing. He's like, Jeremiah Love, running back. Is it our biggest need? Probably not, but Jeremiah Love is a Cowboy. There you go. Cowboys fans maybe hate it because they got Javonte.
They re-signed Javonte Williams.
But they're
not a huge money deal, but
you're getting your stud running back, and you're just thrilled if you're Jerry Jones, and maybe the rest of football ops isn't happy about it.
Very possible. Very, very possible. Now, the Rams. This is the Falcons pick?
I believe so.
I was going to say the Rams.
They don't usually pick 13th overall.
I was going to say, what are they doing up this high? Interesting. I'm seeing team needs as tackles, linebackers, receivers, quarterback. I just think in a real world, Connor, I could see the Rams trading back maybe to later in the first round, another second round pick. And I could see them grabbing a quarterback, whether it's Ty Simpson or maybe somebody else that Sean McVay has sniffed out as his successor to Matt Stafford in SoCal. But in this practice, in this area where we're not doing trades, I'm going to go to the O-line. I'm taking Spencer Fano out of Utah.
I like it. I also would like for the Rams, because they are as good as they are, I would not have hated Jordan Tyson just for down the road. He's got injuries concerns, but I think he's a real big talent, even though they have Puka and Devontae. Devontae's not going to be there forever. Also, shout out to Puka for getting help. Okay, so we are to the Baltimore Ravens. Few needs. I like the receiver option for them, but I think I'm going to go to the defensive side of the football. Jesse Minter, he can make a pretty good corner out of a lot of guys, but I'm going to go Mansour Delane out of LSU for Jesse Minter in that Ravens defense. Former Chargers defensive coordinator.
Former Chargers defensive coordinator.
Once a Charger, always a Charger.
Mm-hmm. The Buccaneers need some help up front defensively, I think, whether it be in the form of an edge or a D tackle. I'm kind of looking best player availables at those positions. Why not stick with? I mean, I think each of the best two guys left are from the national championship game, but or excuse me, what we thought would be the national championship game. But you already tricked me, Connor, talking about OSU should have won the Natty. But
How did they
I'll go to the D tackle and Caden McDonald from Ohio State.
Caden McDonald. Scroll down a little bit here for that one. All right. We make that selection. Text line's 1-833-401-1440. Trevor Parker Ryan says, Jerry Jones running up like Shirley did for a pool party. Nobody thought that was going to happen. We'll get to your text as we roll on through with the mock draft 1.0. So right now we are to the Jets. That's a pick they got from the Colts for Sauce Gardner. The Jets, man, they got to nail this draft. They can't mess this one up. And a team that has a lot of needs. We already selected with the second overall pick an edge rusher. Aaron Glenn, he needs more defense. Build up that defense. I'll go Jamal McCoy, cornerback out of Tennessee. You traded this pick for Sauce Gardner. Why not get another corner that you hope can be a franchise player? That's where we're going to go. So now it takes us to the Lions at 17, where I don't think anyone thought they'd be, Duke.
No, picking a little bit higher than I think a lot of people would have envisioned. But listen, this is going to sound like I'm copping out a lot, but I think that the Lions need to beef up the O-line again. I just don't really think you can go wrong, and there does seem to be a pretty good collection of O-linemen in this middle area of this first round of the draft. Couple options here, but I'm going to head back to the SEC. Seems like you can't really go wrong. Caden Proctor out of Alabama.
He's an interesting one because played tackle, but some people think he has guard upside. So, yeah, I mean, hey, if you have a guy who can do both just in case, probably not a bad thing. So the Minnesota Vikings, a few needs, safety, center, cornerback. I'm going to go with a safety out of Oregon, a guy who made a lot of money at the Combine and his postseason play, Dylan Thieneman. Pair him up with, what's their current safety out of Notre Dame? He's been there forever. Harrison?
Yeah.
Pair them up together. Guy he can learn from if he's still playing. Safety out of Oregon. Dylan Thieneman going to the Vikings. So that brings us to the Carolina Panthers, Duke.
The Panthers are a team on the rise a little bit, right? And Bryce Young, you've said this umpteen times, Connor. Where was he at his best? Playing with a ton of skill players at Alabama. They got one good guy last year in Ted McMillan out of Arizona. Go back to the same state. And I'm taking Jordan Tyson out of ASU.
I like that pick. Get your receivers from Arizona, apparently, if you're the Carolina Panthers. And this one, like, if he stays healthy, I think that is just, you knock it out of the park with that one. Now we get to the Dallas Cowboys. This pick comes over from the Green Bay Packers. That was the one we obviously saw for Micah Parsons. Now, I went off the board for them, so I probably have to be a little bit smarter with this selection. Now, veteran guy, Canadian, he's 25 years old. That'll be the knock on him. But I think Akeem Mesidor is going to be a pro's pro. Obviously, a little more mature when he gets into the league and a very good player. So I'll go trying to fill that edge need with Akeem Mesidor out of the U for the Dallas Cowboys at pick 20, which I think is decent value.
To the Steelers, I think we had a few different predictions of this last year about maybe a guy like Jackson Dart or one of these other next tier level quarterbacks. And that's what I'm seeing here. Ty Simpson out of Alabama.
Going for it?
Going for it.
If this happens, me and all the other Chargers fans are going crazy. Because gives you...
This gives you the guy?
It gives you two options. Kenyon Sadiq would be one I think a lot of Charger fans would like. But Ole Vavega, Ione?
You're asking the wrong guy, Cons. Get Declan in here.
I'm going to get that eventually if he ends up with the Chargers.
He's about to be a Charger.
Because they run to the board and make that pick at 22. I would be thrilled. Pair him up beside either. I think he plays left guard. All of a sudden, that Cole Strange right guard position is your weak spot, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. Mike McDaniel will make it work. So we get to the Philadelphia Eagles, Duke, a team that, well, just a year removed from being Super Bowl champions, trying to reload again. Where do they go?
Well, we had Triple C texting in about who he thinks they will take, and he sized up Clemson's Blake Miller as a replacement for the Lane Johnson.
Sorry. I was already looking ahead to my next pick.
And you know what? We told the texters to text it for their team. I'll go Triple C's route. If that's who he wants, he's currently the third ranked, according to this list that we're looking at here, tackle left on the board. So I'll take Blake Miller.
Blake Miller out of Clemson. All right, lock it in. So this one gets us now up to the Cleveland Browns. This is a pick they got from the Jacksonville Jaguars last season. So what have we done with the Browns so far? They had one pick. We give them a receiver. I think at this point, they're probably pretty happy at the tackle positions that are available. Interior is kind of gone. Caleb Lomu out of Utah, tackle to the Cleveland Browns. What a draft for the Browns, if I don't say so myself. All right, 25 to the Bears. Duke, what do we got?
Yeah, I think back in their secondary, it exceeded a lot of expectations last year amidst injuries and stuff, but they've had a couple departures. Give me Avian Terrell out of Clemson.
All right.
If there was still a premier pass rusher on the board, I think I may go that direction, but maybe they look to address that via trade or elsewhere.
So I had one Bills fan text in and say TJ Parker to the Bills. They do need edge. Did they sign Joey Bosa 1 year? He's probably still out there. Probably not going to be back. He's a bit of in our list here, Duke, he's the 40th ranked prospect. There's players ahead of him.
There's edge rushers ahead of him.
There's edge rushers ahead.
There's D tackles ahead of him.
But Kyle says, that's right. All right. We're doing it. TJ Parker, go into Buffalo. Get your winter jacket, buddy. Up next, the San Francisco 49ers with the 27th overall pick, Duke. The selection is yours.
Well, MTR says that he's saying Kenyon Sadiq to pair in like a complimentary role to George Kittle, I suppose.
I love it.
You do. You're a fan of the double tight end.
With Brock Purdy, too? Like, I think, hey, I'm a big fan of it.
So, I mean, hey, if you're looking to like help the pass catching, he's obviously going to do that. He plays the entire position really well. I think a receiver is tempting here, but the Niners are a smart team. The talent that Sadiq is still on the board here at the end of the first round. I don't think you can pass it up.
We're going Sadiq. I would have liked Omar Cooper, too. Even Denzel Boston.
Those were the two names that I was really bouncing between a little bit here, but MTR, a resident Niners expert, that's the way he went, so I'll oblige.
Now we get to your Houston Texans, 28th overall, Duke. Tight end, linebacker, OC, DT, OG. I see a lot of offensive line in the interior. I don't know if there's anyone necessarily I'm rushing up for the interior. I think maybe you can get that in the second round. Is there anyone you like as a Texans fan?
They need help so badly on the offensive line. With the couple receivers that are still on the board, I mean, they drafted two guys last year, but are they all of a sudden saying like we're still looking for that bona fide guy to maybe fit beside Nico Collins? I think if Sadiq was still here, they would have loved to have him. I think they could maybe think about a receiver here, and then, like I said, go O-line later into the draft. So I'll leave it to you. That would be my input. I don't know if it's super popular, but Jaden Higgins was fine in his rookie year. Jalen Noel, most of his impact on special teams. They love Iowa State receivers, but maybe they go elsewhere in the Big Ten.
I wanted to go Peter Woods, but you brought up receiver. I like Omar Cooper. I think he would complement some of your other receivers very well, maybe more so than Denzel Boston. So give me Omar Cooper Jr., the national champion.
Natty.
So now we get to pick 29. Kansas City Chiefs once again selecting here. This is from the Rams. What do you got here?
Isn't it your pick? Oh, right. I just thought I made that pick.
No, I pushed the button.
You know what? Give me. Oh boy. You know what? Home cooking. Zion Young out of Mizzou. Edge rusher.
So you have them taking 2 edge rushers, just to make sure.
Double edge rusher.
Oh my goodness. Justin Herbert. Are you going to be okay? All right. So that's 2 edge rushers for the Kansas City Chiefs because you had them taking
Throw
David
as many
Bailey.
darts at the board as you can, Connor.
That's
right hand up.
Matt.
I forgot I already took an edge rusher with them earlier in the draft. That's on me. That's on me.
I tried to jump in.
My
but
memory is short, but I don't care. I already clicked it. Hands off the chess piece.
Patrick Mahomes will get the offense figured out. Now we're going the other way. So we're back up to the Dolphins, another first-round pick. They took Monroe Freeling out of Georgia, 11th overall. So at tackle, we could probably go back there if we needed to. This team just has needs everywhere. I'm going to go Denzel Boston, son of David Boston, out of Washington. High points the ball very well. They need some receivers. They moved on from Jalen Waddle. That's why they're picking here. So go back with a receiver and one with some NFL bloodlines as well. Now we get to the Super Bowl teams, the New England Patriots. Who does Mike Vrabel select here, Duke?
Well, I still think they need receiver help. Are they going to get A.J. Brown? Are they going to get somebody else? Even if that happens, that's a great premier guy. Is it crazy to say they could still supplement the rest of the receiver core when you have Trayvon Henderson as maybe your dynamic guy in the backfield? Defense, I think, really outperformed expectations last year. They spent some money there in free agency the previous offseason. So I'll stick in the receiver pool and go with the KC Conception out of A&M.
Concepcion. I don't know.
Concepcion.
I like that pick. Then we get to the defending Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. I don't know if I love it because I've seen some mocks where they go running back here.
Yeah. I was, to be honest, Connor, I was thinking the other Notre Dame running back.
Jadarian Price.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I was thinking as well. And you know what? Let's roll with it. You pair him up with Charbonnet and hope that it takes care of itself. So I'm going to go, and I feel like it's a reach, but I've seen it in other mocks. So for today's purposes, I think you can get interior line elsewhere. I don't want to go edge or corner, but no, we'll go running back. Jadarian Price, 32. Now, our draft is complete. We'll post it up on social medias, and you can take a gander, see what you think of our mock draft, and we'll do it again next Thursday. We'll get Declan Kruger involved.
Connor, your
as
pick
well.
of Mansour Delane got an A- from PFSN.
A-. That's pretty good.
I'd say.
I think if you got that, you'd be pretty happy. Now, there's going to be some questions. Some have already trickled in. We'll get to those when we come back. Fantasy Frenzy brought to you by Wilhock Beef Jerky.
At GS Construction, we're multitaskers. We've got lots of projects going on all around Edmonton and area. Different teams across the city working towards the same outcome. Installing today what will serve generations to come. It's a rewarding career and the work never stops. That's why GS Construction is always on the lookout for great people to join us. Right now, we're looking for experienced topmen, pipe layers, operators, and surveyors. So if you want to feel valued, empowered, and engaged in your work, visit gsconstruction.ca today.
Do you work for a company that wants to reach people who love sports? Or maybe you're looking to hire people who love sports. Sports 1440 partners with dozens of local businesses, connecting with tens of thousands of Edmonton sports fans every day. On the radio, on the listening apps, on YouTube, and on social media. Contact our sales team today to see what Sports 1440 can do for you. Email Gregor at sports1440.ca to get started.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Would you like to be a part of history for the month of April? I'm kidding. Or as the kids say, bro, I'm joking. Would you like to help us set a record in April? Chill. Still kidding. At Northgate, we aren't trying to set any records or tell you how many vehicles we sell. And we really don't think you'd care. But what you will care about is this. Every dealer has the same costs. Trust me, GM does not have a favorite kid. You get to decide where you buy. 0% financing, a great selection, and of course, great people. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in North
Northgate country.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at hughescarwash.com.
I'm good to go.
With Mortgages to Go, you'll be good to go. MortgagesToGo.ca says yes when the banks say no. That's why Alberta has trusted Mortgages to Go for over 23 years. If you need cash and have equity in your home, you're approved instantly, guaranteed. Call 1-888-888-5998. That's 1-888-888-5998. With Mortgages to Go, you'll say,
good to go.
At Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off $150 service. We're basically the BLT of savings. Until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
This is Andrew Walker, host of the postgame show on Sports 1440. After every hockey game this season, tune in and chime in as we talk about the game. It's all sponsored by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Don't get left in the cold. Visit legacyheating.ca.
Ends Wednesday at Pet Value. Save $10 on select open farm dry dog food. Buy one, get one, 40% off all dog and cat treats. And more great deals. Shop your local Pet Value and petvalue.ca.
At Metal Supermarkets, they're all about value added. In addition to a warehouse bursting with steel, aluminum, all the good stuff, and cut fast, they offer a ton of value-added services. Metal bending, drilling, punching, notching, welding, and back hair waxing. Oh, sorry, I meant plasma cutting. Anybody seen my glasses? Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for... And value-added options, too, even delivery. Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
'51, welcome back to Fantasy Frenzy here on Sports 1440, brought to you by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky. Go check them out in Leduc or online at willhawkbeefjerky.com. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas, and Josh Fenwick with you here. Coming up next, Lowdown with Low Tide, Thursday edition of the show. Bagged Milk will be by. Duffin Kruger, of course, as well. Then on the Gregor Show today, Lyndon Ferraro will join us to recap the game. It's Thirsty Thursday. So we'll have David Owens coming by from Sherbrooke Liquor. We got Colin Livingston for the Cantork Race Report. Spec. Kevin Kurz will join us, talk some Flyers as they continue their push for the playoffs. Make sure you keep it locked here on Sports 1440. Some text to get to before we wrap up. Dave Q says, Ty Simpson, are you joking me? Steelers are taking Vega if he's available. That's such a Connor Homer pick. Now, Dave, you're right. It would be. But I did not make that pick. That was Brandon, and he will defend himself.
Let's play a fun game of fact or fiction.
Let's do it.
The Pittsburgh Steelers need a quarterback.
Fact.
Pittsburgh Steelers currently do not have a quarterback.
Fact.
That isn't named Mason Rudolph.
Fact.
You're hitching your wagon back to Aaron Rodgers? Sounds like you're the sucker. I fully believe that Aaron Rodgers will play for the Steelers this year. What about after that? Are they going to be a team that's picking at the top of the draft next year? Where maybe the quarterback crop's a little bit richer? No. Now, could they maybe get Ty Simpson in round 2 or trade up to pick at the end of the first round or trade down and recoup some other picks? Sure, they could, but that's not the game we're playing. The Steelers need a quarterback. He is the consensus second best quarterback available, even if it's a little combine and pro day driven. There's my reasoning. Tell me I'm wrong.
Here's the thing. I agree with you. I like, we weren't doing trades. I think they could be a candidate to trade back. I also think Vega would be a great pick for them. Like, Dave, when Duke took him, my eyes popped. I was like, okay, Chargers run to the board here. I also thought your Texans in that position might be in a position to trade down. Like maybe a team wants to get back into the first for Ty Simpson. I think there's a few teams, like even the Miami Dolphins, they need so many pieces. Maybe, in the past, I think the Chargers traded 2 seconds for it was like the 25th overall pick. They took Kenneth Murray. Not a great pick, but if you're going to get 2 seconds to drop back like 10 spots or whatever it might be, and pick up another second, I think you'd consider it for sure. Add some talent. 1-833-401-1440. Trailer Park Ryan says, if Tate is not there for the Saints at 8, I'm okay with Bailey or Bain Jr. Well, good. We went Ruben Bain Jr. So I'm glad that paid off. Some people will bring up the arms. No doubt about it. We'll bring it up. Just what it is. Zion Young to the Niners. I like 2 from MTR. That was the pick. Triple C in a truck says MTR, an expert. That's laughable. There's no better beef in the Sports 1440 text line than Triple C in a truck and MTR.
They're secretly friends.
They
just can't admit it publicly.
Yeah. I think they'd get along great over a couple beers. DDR says, boys, we need a conspiracy draft. What upcoming false flags do we think are going to happen?
It sounds like a mid-July topic.
You know, it would be an interesting one. I think you can really learn a lot about someone by asking them what their favorite conspiracy is.
Also, I do want to shout out, I think it was Dallas. When we were talking about conspiracies last week or whenever that was, he straight up emailed us this full list breaking down the theory about, was that the one where space was fake?
Yeah. Did you dive into it?
No. Not yet.
I took a little bit of a read.
I'm not saying I'm against diving into everything he sent us. I think there were some links maybe to videos and other. It was very extensive. But that might be where I've got a full day to do nothing and just fully immerse myself. I'm not saying I'm against diving into it, but I'll be going in with a pretty critical outlook on it.
E-Town Man says, boys, don't forget about Will Howard in Pittsburgh.
Will Howard.
Yeah.
As Mike McCarthy said.
Maybe. I guess we'll let McCarthy kind of see what he thinks about it. If there is an obvious upgrade and you think that Simpson can be the guy, some people think he's the best quarterback in the draft. Are they doing it for clicks or do they really believe it? I'll let you decide. Roadhammer says, yes, tight end for sure for San Francisco. Kiddo, I think that's supposed to be Kittle. Is starting to get older. He's starting to get brittle. He showed that last year. Thank you for making the pick. Let's hope San Francisco does the same thing. Roadhammer, I love it. I would love a receiver for them as well, but if Sadiq's there, I think they'd be a fantastic
If I'm
selection.
keeping it a buck, Connor, I don't think Kenyon Sadiq is still on the board at that time.
I think there's a chance
there will be somebody else that picks him sooner than that.
Well, and assuming Vega's not there for the Chargers, I think they might take a look at that as well. But they could be an option to trade down.
I thought that's what you're going to do.
Well,
I thought you were going to go with Sadiq.
Godson? Aronde Goodson? I'm not in football mode right now. I'm forgetting my own team's players. He's okay. We'll wrap it up. Hand things over to Low Tide for first. A Sports 1440 update with Brandon Douglas, brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky online, wilhaukbeefjerky.com, only available in Leduc.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
A 14-game slate in the NHL tonight, all of which with playoff implications, starting with the Maple Leafs taking on the Islanders. Sabres hosting the Jackets. Tampa is in Montreal. Thomas Chabot making his return for Ottawa as they play the Panthers from our nation's capital. Flyers take on the Red Wings. Devils host the Penguins. Pittsburgh with a chance to clinch their playoff spot with a victory. Jets are in St. Louis. Hawks host the Hurricanes. Wild play the Stars in a first-round matchup preview. Flames are in Colorado. Preds against the Mammoth Ducks host the Sharks. Kraken taking on the Golden Knights. And in the nightcap, LA Kings hosting the Vancouver Canucks. In the association, half dozen games there, including the Toronto Raptors at home against the Miami Heat for a second straight game. Tip-off at 5 o'clock from Scotiabank Arena. Elsewhere, Knicks hosting Boston and MSG. Sixers are in Houston, and the Lakers head north to take on the Golden State Warriors. Light day in the majors with several teams in transit already underway. Miami taking on Cincinnati, Yankees and Athletics. Twins hosting Detroit, and still to come, Arizona up against the Mets. KC playing the White Sox, and the Rockies are in San Diego. Finally, Masters, round number 1 underway from Augusta National in Georgia. Currently, Sam Burns and Patrick Reed tied at 4 under atop the leaderboard. They're through 14 and 11 holes, respectively. Canadian Nick Taylor, he's T4 right now, 2 under through 14 holes. Coming up on Sports 1440, it is the Lowdown with Low Tide. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.